This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick John DiNallo. John brings us weird sports in commentary. This podcast is in collaboration with Cleveland13 News WCTU. Please check them out. And also check out our sponsors. We have What Would You Say to a Naked Alien? Check out that by Paul Seaburn. We have a series of books by Henriette Ivanans McIntyre. She takes us on her journey of addiction. And Yes, I Can coaching with Karen. That's me. I can help you find some of the answers you're looking for. And I also want to send out a mention to It Could Only Happen on Earth, hosted by Lowth and Paul Seaburn. So please check them out. They have weird stories like we do. They're mostly extraterrestrial. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's exactly right. Paranormal, UFOs, aliens, ghosts, all that kind of stuff. That's the thrust, the focus of It Could Only Happen on Earth. Marcus and I have almost as much fun as we have here with a completely different set of stories. So double your fun by listening to both.
Or why not?
On YouTube. Yeah, there you go. So thank you, Karen, for that. Karen Hale, for that wonderful introduction. We are What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news podcast. Real news, sometimes weird, always funny. That's our motto. We are coming to you every week on, let's see, we're on Spotify and different platforms. We're also coming through our partner, Cleveland Channel 13 WCTU. So check them out. I think the website is clevelandnews13.com. Does that sound right, Karen?
Yeah.
I finally got it in my brain. Wow, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's what we just found out here. So we're here every week with the strange news from around the world. Also, because of our association with Cleveland and the fact that the three of us are in Northeast Ohio, at least most of the year, we like to throw in some Cleveland stories, and we've got some great Cleveland stories this week as well. The first voice you heard, well, we'll give her one more plug. Karen Hale, our producer, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. The producer of many great podcasts on that platform. So please check them out. A lot of different styles, different subject matters. So if you think they're all like What in the World, no, they're nothing like What in the World.
Right.
Well said, Paul. Well said.
Thank you, John. Check that out. That is that other voice in your other ear is none other than John DiNallo, co-host of the podcast, host of What in the World of Sports with John, my old buddy from college, fraternity brother. How you doing today?
Paul, I'm doing well. We're down in sunny Florida and enjoying Tuesday and looking forward to having a great show.
Are you telling the truth when you said it's sunny, or is it? Or do you just want to rub it in?
I'll tell the truth, and I am rubbing it in. It's sunny. It's very sunny here. It's very warm too now. It's finally warmed up. We've been in Florida here for a while, and when we first got here, it was we had temperatures in the 40s, believe it or not.
Wow.
Sometimes morning temperatures in the 30s.
In the 30s.
But that's turned around for us, thankfully. So we're enjoying it.
They call it down there frozen iguana weather.
Yeah.
Yes, the iguanas freeze when it's 30 degrees, and when we first got down here the first week, we saw a lot of Floridians. They're all bundled up. They have gloves on, they have hats on. Really, I mean, it's a departure for them, especially if they live here year round. So
that's funny. I saw a great photo. I was almost going to put it on the show this week. Of it was two photos side by side, and one said 40 degrees in Florida. And it was people just bundled up to the hilt, hats and gloves. And then 40 degrees in Cleveland. And it was a guy in shorts and a T-shirt holding a beer, standing in a pile of snow.
Yep.
Well, there it is. There it is. Oh
And
my.
that is the truth. That is the truth. We just have a different way of looking at the cold weather up
Correct.
here. So let's we caught up on what's been going on here. Let's get right to the news. That's what you really tuned in for, the news and what the fun news from the past week. And boy, talk about weird news. We I always say it's hard to top what we talked about last week, and yet every week we manage to find some new, more weird stories. So we've got, I mentioned we like to do local stories. I have a national Bigfoot story and a local Bigfoot story, and they have something in common besides just Bigfoot. So we're going to find out about that. From Taiwan, the world's toughest high school test. So if you think your high school is tough and you think tests are tough, wait till you hear about this test. An extreme coffee shop in China. Um, that's all I'm going to say until you hear it. It's unbelievable. We've got giant monkeys in Scotland. That's an interesting story. Not the place you would find monkeys, let alone giant ones. Uh, Pickleball and pickles in one story. I thought that was an interesting combination there that you don't normally see. And back with one more Cleveland story, a way that Clevelanders are dealing with groundhogs. So we're going to find out the Cleveland way to deal with groundhogs. Plus, we've got some more odd news. We've got world records. We've got trivia. John's got a great sport for us this week. And then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So you want to stick around for that. Let's get right to it. I'll shove that over here and let's see what we. Okay, so we're going to talk about a local story. Let's move some photos around here for us to take a look at. There we go. Here's a picture of my book, What Would You Say to a Naked Space Alien? Again, thank you, Karen, for mentioning that. Available on Amazon.com. Also, go to my website, paulseaburn.com, for links on how to get that as well. So and Karen also mentioned my other podcast, It Could Only Happen on Earth, where I talk about cryptids, which are monsters from around the world. You'll find that cryptids tend to appear on What in the World occasionally, and today's one of those days. So Bigfoot's one of those characters that shows up on both shows, but in completely different ways, and this is a perfect example of it. There's a national Bigfoot story going around. It's amazing to me sometimes that these monsters and UFOs and things like that are getting out of the paranormal world where I was living as a writer and editor for a number of years and moving to the mainstream. The New York Times is where I got this story. So there is a musical currently off Broadway in New York City. It's called Bigfoot the Musical. Right up your alley, John, right?
Oh yeah, no kidding. Wow. I can't wait to hear the details, Paul. Please tell.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's off Broadway. So that doesn't mean that, it's full of mosquitoes and you got to spray yourself with off before you go in. All that.
Hey,
Yeah,
where's your horn? You got your horn for that one? That deserves a
well,
horn,
that's
Paul.
not
Come
a
on.
pun. The horn is for pun. We'll save it.
Okay.
Bad jokes don't deserve a horn.
Okay. All right. Okay. All
No,
right.
off
Just as well.
Broadway, for those of you don't know, means that it's a smaller theater than the Broadway theaters, which were upward of 1,000 or so seats. Off Broadway, just a little smaller, but still almost as prestigious. So this one was written and produced by someone who you may be familiar with. Her name is Amber Ruffin, and Amber is a very funny comedian and writer. She's on the Late Show with Seth Meyers. And she's also on, she has her own show. She's a guest on many shows. She's just all over the place. Very funny lady, very, very good guest on shows. Seth Meyers has never booked Bigfoot on his show, even during the run of the play. He has not booked Bigfoot. And I think the reason is there's a rumor that Bigfoot is a conservative, and Seth just doesn't like to have conservatives on his show. So we don't talk about politics on the show other than that little mention there. So hoping to try and get a laugh out of it, but not this time. Maybe next time. So here's a picture from Bigfoot the Musical. There's Bigfoot right there. Oh, okay, nice scary Bigfoot. Uh, and also someone who is chasing after Bigfoot, which obviously you can't have a Bigfoot story of any kind without somebody looking for Bigfoot and maybe even trying to catch Bigfoot. So this,
Camera, though.
what's that?
She's not carrying a camera to take a picture of them.
Oh, maybe well, she's got a lot of pockets on her little uniform there. So
Oh, okay.
maybe they're maybe it's one of those, the fourth wall. They're breaking the fourth wall and they want the audience to take pictures. Maybe that's it.
Got it.
Well, actually, Karen, now that you pointed out, someone did take this picture. So maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know. You've got me completely confused. So the plot is really interesting. So it takes place in a town called Mud Dirt. Mud Dirt is the name of it. It has a corrupt mayor, so it's very realistic. And the corrupt mayor is stealing money from the city by building a fake water park. So he's using fake contractors and all that, and he's lining his pockets to build this water park, which happens to be where Bigfoot lives, which is how Bigfoot gets in. And Bigfoot, this is not a mean Bigfoot. This is just a Bigfoot who wants to get along with humans. And this kind of makes him upset because, here he is trying to get along, and here's this mayor screwing up the woods and then blaming the problems on Bigfoot. Oh, there's the plot twist that everybody's waiting for. And great music all the way through. I wish we could play some of the music here, but we don't have the rights to it. So he sends in, this is I quote from the playbill, an overzealous hunter, which is who we're looking at there. Obviously, overzealous that she thinks she's going to tackle Bigfoot with a knife. You don't bring a knife to a Bigfoot fight, as they say. So they say Bigfoot has a quote, a big furry heart to charm his pursuers and stop the mayor's evil plans and exist in harmony with Mud Dirt. So, that's a standard Broadway plot. Everybody starts out happy and then somebody screws everything up. And then you proceed to try and find a way to be happy again, all the while singing really weird songs and dancing. So there you go. If you want to see that, you could go to New York, or you could go to Chagrin Falls, Ohio. Believe it or not, at the same time as Bigfoot the Musical is on Broadway, there is a Bigfoot play going on right now in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. Did you know that, Karen?
I had no idea.
How about that? Isn't this wild? So it's called the Bigfoot Letters. There's the promo for it. The Bigfoot Letters. It's at the Chagrin Valley Little Theater, which is about I don't know, maybe 20 miles from downtown Cleveland. Not that far. Beautiful area of Northeast Ohio. Written by two Clevelanders, Russell Stitch and Nancy Nixon, who are both writers and playwrights living in Cleveland, Ohio. The plot is based in Southern Ohio, so they made it into an Ohio Bigfoot story. So it tells the story of Sheila Hartman, a rural Southern Ohio woman whose life has changed forever when she accidentally hits a Bigfoot with her pickup truck. So, yeah, I know. I don't know what. I don't want to spoil the plot, but let's just say she ends up adopting a baby Bigfoot as a result. So she raises this baby Bigfoot as her own, and for help, she contacts a local Bigfoot investigator by the name of Roger Corman for help. If this were real life, maybe they would call me. I don't know. Or John, yeah. So Sheila has a meddling sister. This is where the plot takes a twist. Stella. There's also a pastor who doesn't believe in Bigfoot, and there's a local sheriff, and they get involved in a big chase going across the countryside. They end up stopping at the Quad State Bigfoot Symposium, which is a fake Bigfoot conference, like all the real Bigfoot conferences in Ohio, and a Bigfoot Renaissance Fair, which I wanted make one of these. I think that would be the most fun thing to do. I've been to Renaissance Fair and Bigfoot conferences. It'd be the perfect amalgamation of the two of them.
Good word, amalgamation. I like the word. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's at the role for you, John. It's at Squirrely Joe's Freak Farm.
Wait a
So
minute. What you roll for me? What? That's kind of a left-handed compliment, I think.
that's right. That's where they meet to solve the problem. So sounds like a much better play than Bigfoot the musical, I think. So it's going to be running from now until March 15th. Is that St. Patrick's Day? March 15th, March 17th.
Days before.
March 15th is the Ides of March.
You got it.
Ides of March, that's right. So it'll be running there. It's at the Cuyahoga Valley Little Theater, cvlt.org for times and ticket information. So give them a plug, even though they're not a sponsor. But I just thought, there you go. What are the odds of a Bigfoot play going on in New York City and in the Cleveland, Ohio area at the same time? Only in Cleveland is there a second Bigfoot play. Okay.
Yeah, I find that very coincidental.
I wish they were still running when you came back from Florida, John. We could make it an afternoon or an evening and go out and maybe sign autographs outside. Whether it's I don't know, maybe meet Bigfoot. All right, well, moving on from Bigfoot. So everybody says, "Oh yeah, high school was tough." It was the worst. This particular teacher gave the hardest test. Well, you've never seen a test until you've seen this particular test. It's at the Shui High School in Changhua County, Taiwan. So this high school will not let their students graduate until they pass one particular test. What does the test involve? It involves climbing a sheer rock wall 50 feet, yes, to the top. So they have 4 years to train for this, but before they can graduate, every single student has to climb a 50-foot wall to the top. And it doesn't look like it looks like they've got that standard climbing gear. I wasn't sure if they had the ropes or not, but still, they got to climb up this thing 50 feet high using nothing but their bare hands. So I was thinking, did anything when we were going to school scare us as much as that scares me? And the only thing I could think of, John, was a nun with a yardstick.
Oh, there we go.
If we saw a nun with a yardstick, I think we would jump over a 50-foot fence and we wouldn't even need to use our hand.
Well, when you have a nun with a ruler like that, there's going to be trouble. That's all I can say.
Big, thick ones. Yeah, they were made thicker. I think the Catholic Church supplied them with special yardsticks that were like an inch thick. And it was even worse. It was even scarier if the nun was the principal of the school. So I'll go back to, I don't want to scare John too much here. I'll go back to this one here. That's not.
Well, thanks, Paul. Appreciate that.
So if you haven't been to this school, you've arrived in the parking lot because most of the parking spaces are handicap parking because
no,
falling off this wall all the time. So they have to climb the wall to graduate. I mean, I almost dropped out of the SAT test when my number 2 pencil broke and I didn't know what I was going to do. These people, they have to climb a wall, a 50-foot wall to graduate. I wonder if that's the graduation test. What do their gym classes look like? Yeah, the Marine boot camp. What could it be? It's terrible. So the brochure for this high school, they recruit people. People actually, try hard and register early to get to this school. It says the unique graduation requirement not only challenges student limits, but also cultivates their focus, balance, and physical coordination. When we were in school, we got focus, balance, and physical coordination by walking to our cars on an icy parking lot in the wintertime.
That was about the extent of it.
Yeah,
Right.
or from the bus stop, for those of us who didn't have cars, walking from the bus stop all the way to school on the ice. parent-teacher meetings at this school must be really, really tough. Can you imagine? Your parents go and the teacher says, well, Johnny's not doing too well at rock climbing. We may have to send him back to remedial rock piling.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's how bad Johnny's doing. So I don't know. Would you go to a school? Karen, would you send either of your sons to a school like that?
I'm terrified of heights, so no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm terrified by heights and width. That's not even wide enough for me either. I know John wouldn't want to go on one of these things.
No, but interesting enough, when we were at a place in Florida here a couple of weeks ago, there's a recreation center in the Villages, which is a very popular
Oh yeah.
55 and older community, right? So we go into this recreation center, and there is almost an exact replica of that wall that people use, and the majority of these people, again, they're in their 50s, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of
I
interesting.
can't imagine them climbing. I can imagine them riding golf carts up the wall, but I can't imagine.
A little bit too strenuous.
Yeah. No, everybody gets around in golf carts. People don't even have legs anymore. They just ride around in golf carts down there.
There you go.
Anyways, my apologies to the people who live down there, down in the Villages. So if you think that's scary, that's scary, or the nun is scary, you haven't seen me before I had my first cup of coffee, is what people like to say when they talk about scary things. But it's a good segue to our next segment, which is about the world's most extreme coffee shop. So this is unbelievable. This comes from Fujian, China. It's called the Gushi Cliff Coffee Shop. Now, that's because it's on the Gushi Cliff, but that doesn't tell you anything about the Gushi Cliff. This is basically a sheer wall. I think it's 300 some feet high, and suspended from the wall and attached to it are little platforms. I will give you a measurement, approximately 1 butt wide. That's how wide they are. Enough to be like a city bench in a park. That's how wide they are. The length is enough to hold maybe 3 people, and people pay $58 a cup for a cup of coffee on a platform where, if you look down, you're looking down 300 feet into the ocean or the sea or whatever that body of water is down there. They don't even talk about that because it's too scary just to be up there. That $58 includes a mandatory insurance, professional equipment rental in order to climb down, and rappelling instructors, which are stationed. Here's another picture here. They're stationed all around to help people. Not if they. I mean, if you're too late. Yeah. Isn't that scary, Karen?
Yeah, it is. Like, it's ridiculous.
It better be really good coffee. That's all I've got to say.
Wow.
I can get the same effect at Starbucks by sitting on one of those stools and spilling some water on the floor. And I'll look down at the water and I'm scared to begin with. So, that's enough for me. I don't need to be beyond this. So they asked one of the baristas, what determines how long a customer can stay on the cliff? And the barista said, depends. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got the answer.
I got that. I got that
got
joke.
that one. Okay, there we go. That's a horn right there. So the drink most people consume when they're sitting on this cliff, sitting on this board on the edge of a cliff, is the holy cappuccino, which is what
boy.
every time I look at this picture, that's all I can think of. So you have, not only do you have to rappel down to the wall, but first you have to climb up to the top. So it's a 30-minute climb on a trail getting up to the top, and then you rappel down to the platforms. I mean, I'll never complain about parking a block away from Starbucks again after people do something like that. That's just unbelievable.
How do you bring your coffee down?
But Karen, I tried to find the answer to that because I wanted to know the same thing. I don't know if you have to imagine rappelling with one hand on the rope
Yeah,
and one hand
yeah.
holding your car. I'm sure it had the lid on it, but so what? The so somebody asked
See,
me
it
if you
seems
need
like too much effort for a cup of coffee.
Yes.
no kidding, John. So somebody asked me on Facebook, "Do you need reservations?" And you should have plenty of reservations before you.
Sometimes words have two meanings.
There
Yes.
you go, John. That's exactly right. So, so they do have seatbelt. I think. I think they have seatbelt once they get to the platform. Uh, and I was thinking, I thought of another place where seatbelts would come in handy. Another place like the Waffle House at 4 o'clock in the morning after the bars have closed would be a good place for people
I
to.
agree.
Yeah, yeah. John's been there. John's been at Waffle House at 4 o'clock. Not
Yes,
in a
I have.
while. Not in a while. So yeah. How do you? Where's the creamer? Where's the creamer stand? If you want creamer, you forgot to ask the barista, and now you want to go get some creamer or some soy milk or whatever you put in your coffee. I think you might want to pass on that. Um, I'm hoping the stirring sticks that they give you to stir are like wooden and sharpened on the end so you can ram it into the wall to
Yeah.
help climb back up again. Um, and then what happens if you drop your biscotti, John? You got to have a biscotti while you're up there drinking
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Wow.
coffee.
Too many problems associated with this activity.
Yeah. Well, somebody asked them what happened with the biscotti if you drop your biscotti, and the barista said it sleeps with the fishes. So
Oh, there you go. Enough
we know
said
what
on
happened
that.
to the biscotti. So the real answer to the question of how long you can stay is you can stay as long as you want, I guess, until it's dark, and then they send a helicopter with a searchlight, I suppose, to rescue you. But I'm surprised that neither one of you asked me where's the bathroom.
Um,
Well,
I think
yeah.
yours depends.
Yeah, the answer to where the bathroom is this is a family show, and I'm not going to explain to you how
Got
people
it.
bathroom.
Good idea.
But honest to God, I don't see. I imagine they rappel back up again. All right. So regular listeners and viewers of our show, that we're getting out of here. We're going to something I love, and that's monkeys. I love monkeys. I love real live monkeys. I love stuffed monkeys. I love all kind of monkeys. Monkey memes, you name it. So I would never use monkeys, however, or a story about monkeys that was on the news this past week to get viewers. And you know which story I'm talking about, of course, and that's Punch the Monkey. Hey, both of you seen that story about
Oh,
Punch?
yeah, I've seen a number of clips on TV. Yes.
Everywhere. Yeah, we would never stoop so low to put a picture of Punch the Monkey up just to get more viewers to our show, would we? Uh, so we just did it. The so this is I thought it was such a cool story. So Punch is a baby macaque monkey at a zoo in Japan, and it was abandoned by his mother. So the zoo staff raised him, and they raised him by giving him this stuffed orangutan, and that's what Punch is dragging around with him. And they're just all kind of pictures. Just go on the internet. Yeah, it's funny that it used to be if you put Punch the Monkey, if you searched on Punch the Monkey, you got a completely different set of pictures that you probably don't want to look at while you're at work. But this one, um, it was everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. So the first thing that happened, the entire world supply of orange stuffed orangutans is sold out. And that is not a bluff. That is not a lie. The entire population there, you can no longer buy an orange orangutan because so many people fell in love with this story. I'm thinking, I'm just glad they didn't give Punch the Monkey a roll of toilet paper to play with.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, so since you can't get the orangutan, I've got another one for you, and this is a stuffed monkey story from Scotland. But in keeping with the theme of what in the world, this is the world largest stuffed monkey. So here's a picture of it. And I just want to point out, for those of you looking at the picture, those are life-size people laying on top of this
Oh,
stuffed monkey. Yeah, yeah. And there's plenty of room for more. There must be 8 of them on here. There's plenty of room for more people. So a lady by the name of Amelia Evans Munton. She's a student at Scotland's Glasgow School of Art. Um, she used 200 feet of corduroy fabric and 40 bales of straw to make this stuffed monkey, the world's largest sock monkey, she calls it. Measures 49 feet, 6 inches long. So once it was done, she managed to put it in storage before a bunch of dogs came by and tried to rip it apart, like dogs would do. She wanted to make it out of a single sock, but Shaquille O'Neal wouldn't give her one. So yeah, I know.
okay.
So look at the eyes. The eyes are the thing that amazed me. They're giant eye buttons. They're 5 feet wide, and they make the monkey look like he just saw, what happened after the stock market fell today. He's terrified of what's going
Or seeing a Bigfoot.
or seeing a Bigfoot. That's even better, John. Thank you. So this is who would play with a monkey like this? Well, I know who. If King Kong ever feels abandoned, this is the perfect monkey for him. And I happen to find a picture of King Kong with a
Oh,
isn't that nice? Yeah. Almost looks like Bigfoot, but that's supposed to be King Kong holding a stuffed monkey. So 40 bales of straw. That's a lot of straw. There's now a shortage of scarecrows in Scotland as a result of her using up all the straw. Did either of you have a sock monkey when you were kids?
I'm going to say no.
I had sock puppets.
Sock puppets, yeah. I actually had a sock monkey. My grandmother made it for all of her grandchildren one Christmas. I also had another one, but we'll talk about sock monkeys in a minute. I had one made out of a compression sock. Those compression socks. No matter how
Sure.
much no matter how much you stuffed in it, it always looked like it was on Ozempic. It just would not get fat. So here's something to help you. Here's a picture of the pattern that they use to make sock monkeys out of 2 special socks that we'll talk about in a second. So if you like playing trivia at your local pub or your local bar, I've got some trivia answers to help you out in case this question ever comes up. So,
Okay.
all right, yeah. The origin of the sock monkey. When did it come from? It originated during the Depression, when moms and grandmas were looking for toys to make for their kids because they couldn't afford to buy them. So they would get these socks and make them into sock monkeys. And this is a pattern that was going around at that time on how to make a sock monkey out of 2 socks. The next question is, where did they get the socks from? These were special socks. They were made by Rockford Red Heel. They're called the Rockford Red Heel, and they're made by the Nelson Knitting Mill in Rockford, Illinois. Rockford, Illinois. A guy by the name of John Nelson actually developed the first seamless sock knitting machine in 1869. And it started the sock boom, and then it started the sock monkey boom. You always felt lucky if your mom washed the socks before she made the monkey out of them.
Yeah.
I guess.
So I don't know if you notice on the bottom, there's also a pattern on how to make a sock elephant, which were not as popular as the sock monkeys, because then you also had to make a little tiny sock clown who followed behind the sock monkey, picking up the little sock poop in a bucket.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry, John. It was a tough week. It was cold. It was cold. It was snowing. It was hard.
I'm hearing you, Paul. I'm hearing you.
John giving me grief for a change. Well, he's getting his revenge. 1 week of John getting revenge here. Let's see what you can do with this story here, John. With another trivia aid in here. So John, speaking of the villages, I understand that on every corner there's a pickleball court in the villages. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, that is a fair statement and not an exaggeration. It's really, really popular in the villages.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a pickleball player. The mere mention of pickleballs makes me think of dill pickles, which makes me think of fried dill pickles, which is the way I like to eat dill pickles. Um, and I get hungry, and then I stop thinking about any kind of sport whatsoever. So if you go to a bar, and for trivia night, here's another trivia answer for you. If someone asks you a question, where was the first fried dill pickle made? Oh, there's the sock monkey. I forgot about that picture of the sock monkey. There we go. That's what a sock monkey looks like. Where was the first dill pickle, first fried dill pickle? Where was it made? Turns out it was made at a bar in Atkins, Arkansas in 1963. So it's not, I thought this was something that was like from New Orleans or someplace like that, or an old farm meal or treat or an appetizer. But it turns out in 1963, guy by the name of, and I love this name, Burnell Fat Man Austin. I wonder why. He was the owner of the Duchess Drive-In, and it was across the street from the Atkins Pickle Company. And one day he decided he was going to try doing something different with the pickles. And he came up with this idea for breading them and deep frying them. And everybody loved them to the point where this is now the headquarters, the world headquarters for fried dill pickles. Now, poor Fat Man, Fat Man is gone. Rest in peace for him. But the Fat Man's original fried dill pickle recipe lives on at the Atkins Pickle Fest, which is held annually, and people come from all over the world to eat the recipe, to eat the fried pickles the way the Fat Man made them. So what were we talking about? Oh, pickleball. That's right. So this story comes from Grand Rapids, Michigan, for all you Michigan fans. These two guys, Brad Haverkamp and Caleb Dang, that was a picture I just passed up. They broke the Guinness World Record for the longest marathon playing singles pickleball. So that's singles pickleball, not doubles. Longest marathon. They played nonstop 28 consecutive hours, John. 28 hours. That's a day plus 4 hours.
That's
Doing,
amazing. I thought maybe the record would be like 10 hours or something like that, but
yeah,
28?
get
Wow.
you get tired of hearing that stupid little ball click against the paddle after a while.
Oh, sure. It
Yeah,
becomes monotonous in a way.
honest to God, yeah. So they were only allowed a 5 minute break once an hour. And in addition to the Guinness World Record certificate, they were also made honorary citizens of Florida. So, if they're playing that much pickleball, I would think they're probably mayor of the villages. The So the one
Oh,
guy, Dang, he says, and I quote, I think at a certain point your brain just shuts off and you're on autopilot. So that's how they made it through. He says his brain shut off and he was on autopilot. For me, my brain would shut off the moment I started thinking, hey, playing pickleball for 28 hours would be a good idea. I don't
good thinking, Paul. Good thinking
Yeah.
there.
Oh, my brain would shut right down there. I'd start thinking about dill pickles. So they used a 5 minute break to obviously to go to the bathroom. They also would have something to eat, and then they would call their wives and apologize. 1 more hour. We're just going to be here another hour, which they said 28 times before they finally made it to the end of the 28-hour pickleball marathon. I thought,
Wow.
that's a lot of pickleball. And
Yep.
can you hear that from where you're at, John? Or are you near a pickleball court? That's
Oh,
what
yeah, yeah.
complains about it,
In
sound.
fact, we're no, no, yes. In fact, where we are at, there's been several tennis courts that have been converted to pickleball courts now.
Yeah, yeah. The
Hmm.
thing that annoys me, uh, and they set a second record for the most ice bags used to ice down their knees after it was all over. And the thing that annoys me is when I talk to pickleball players is, I always say I don't want to ruin my knee. My knees were already too old, I don't want to ruin what's left of them. Oh no, it's not. There's nothing wrong with it. If you hurt your knees, you must be doing it the wrong way.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
If you can't hurt your knees if you do it the right way. To me, the right way to do pickleball is on my couch watching it on TV.
There you go. There you
That's
have
it. That's it. There's no other right way to play
Sure.
pickleball or to do pickleball.
Agreed. Agreed.
Whatever you call it. I don't know, John. Okay. All right. So we got one more Cleveland story that I want to end with. I could not believe this. And John, you probably didn't get this news down south. So get ready for this. Cleveland has a division of animal control. City of Cleveland, Division of Animal Control, because we have wild animals in the city other than college students. So the Cleveland Division of Animal Control announced it's spending $200,000. $200,000 on what? They're hiring an expert in nuisance wildlife management. And what this person, one person, $200,000, his job, his or her job, is to trap groundhogs and other unwelcome critters. $200,000 to trap groundhog. This is Cleveland. They could eliminate the problem just by publishing in the local paper a recipe for groundhog kielbasa.
Oh, geez.
Oh
no.
boy, I don't know about that.
Guess what, Karen? I was going to publish it. There's actually a recipe for groundhog sausage on the internet. So,
it's a rodent. Who wants to eat a rodent?
well,
I'm with you on that, Karen, for sure. Yeah, it is a rodent.
That's true, John. But people people do eat like squirrels and other raccoons. So groundhogs are just another piece of meat, I guess. But $200,000. That's the thing that got me. For half of that, for $100,000, they could pay me, and what I would do is I'd teach the groundhogs to be like squirrels and run out in front of traffic. Problem solved, right?
Yeah.
Or deer, one or the other. Or if not enough people are running them over, I would just keep reminding Clevelanders that the groundhog is the reason why we're stuck in 6 more weeks of winter that's turning into 12 more weeks of winter. So, you don't like the groundhog, you can fix this problem for next year. We don't have to worry about anything seeing his shadow. So I checked the recipes and on groundhog, and they said that groundhog tastes like chicken. I'm not kidding. That groundhog tastes like chicken. So my next solution is to get Costco to start selling rotisserie groundhog.
Oh my gosh!
If it tastes like chicken, people will buy it as long as it's $4.95. People at Costco will buy anything. Maybe have a barrel of Tums next to it that they could buy. What? No, you don't like rotisserie groundhog? I thought that was a good idea.
So, no.
Well, get a load of this. Groundhog was on the menu for the first Groundhog Day. The first Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, of course, was held in 1887. And one of the reasons they got together, besides seeing if it would see its shadow, is to eat groundhog. The Groundhog Club members, that's what they were called, they frequently ate the rodent, according to the write-up. They described it as tasting like a mix of pork and chicken. Sounds better, John. Sounds better, pork and chicken. They would have it during their fall picnics and at the Elks Lodge.
Staying with the animal theme.
Yes,
staying with the animal theme, obviously.
The Elks Lodge, they don't eat elk, they eat groundhog.
Wow.
So they were, and not only that, this is the best part. What do you think they washed down their roast groundhog with? Well, with groundhog punch. Groundhog punch is a special drink made with vodka, milk, eggs, and orange juice.
Oh, that sounds gross.
Doesn't that sound?
God.
What's the connection with the groundhog with all those ingredients?
I'll tell you, John, that's an excellent question. They would shake it up, and not only would they drink it, but they served it to the groundhog. I don't know if it was maybe a meat tenderizer or what before.
Wow.
Yeah, they would serve it to the groundhog. If the groundhog liked it, then they decided it was okay and they drank
So
it.
what? So yeah, you have all these drunk groundhogs
Yeah.
running around. Oh my gosh.
Drunk groundhogs. The I think now, if the Groundhog Day celebrations were like this, where people were running around drunk on groundhog punch and holding a leg of groundhog in the air and gnawing on it, that I would go. I would go. I think that would be a lot of fun instead of just watching the groundhog, some guy holding this big overweight groundhog that needs to be on Ozempic. The poor groundhog, the groundhog can't
We
even waddle.
we have a lot of visuals today here, Paul. A lot of visuals. We have the drunk. We have the drunk groundhog. The
John,
fat.
are you trying to
Wait a
tell
minute.
me that it's about time to end my segment and bring yours on? Is that
Oh,
what
You
you're?
can read it.
yeah,
You
I
can read
think
into
so.
that. But I'm saying, like, you have the drunk groundhog. You have the fat groundhog that
Well,
needs Ozempic. I mean, oh my gosh.
okay, all right, okay, all right. Well, that luckily for you, we started with the Cleveland story. We're gonna end with the Cleveland story, and that's all I have on the drunken groundhogs and the $200,000 job catching groundhogs in Cleveland, Ohio. I think the job is still open, so if you're interested, apply to the Cleveland division of
Metro Parks. Metro Parks, right?
Metro Park. Sounds good. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
know what to do. They might have the recipe for groundhog punch or maybe beaver punch or something else that we.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. John wants to do his segment already here. So I think
No, that's okay. That's all right.
we've reached the end of my segment of What in the World. That means it's time for What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. I mentioned before, John and I met in college, I think on probably the second day of school. We're fraternity brothers. We've been friends ever since. John knows more about sports and trivia than anybody else I know. So he's the perfect host of What in the World of Weird Sport. Every week I challenge John, find me a sport that fits with our theme, real sport, sometimes strange, always funny. John, as everybody knows, always manages to come up with one. This week is no exception. John, what's your sport for this week?
Oh, thanks for the introduction, Paul. Appreciate it. There is a pure backyard bred gauntlet throwing sport that many people of our generation were convinced that was once part of the Olympic Winter Games. In reality, the sport was never part of the games. The sport I'm talking about is barrel jumping.
Oh,
Let
wow.
me explain. A film clip of barrel jumping was long featured on the trailer to ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Yeah.
In it, the jumper is seen skating up to a row of barrels at high speed on skates, leaping forward like a broad jumping track star, but unfortunately hitting the last barrel with his tailbone and then shattering his pelvis in the process as he lands in a heap.
Oh,
Oh,
the
As the
agony.
announcer, as the
Yeah.
announcer would proclaim the agony of defeat
Oh,
in describing the horrible crash, the iconic image was presented prior to every broadcast of Wide World of Sports.
wow.
Now, as to the origin of barrel jumping, long jumping on ice skates was an informal sport in 19th century Holland. There, it grew out of obstacle races in which speed skaters jumped fences, walls, and man made barriers. Then, during the 1920s and 30s, wooden barrels were often placed to mark the boundaries of the courses. Eventually, the sport was formalized, and the skater circles the ice rink a few times, picking up speed at about 30 miles an hour, and then tries to leap a batch of fiberglass barrels laid side by side on the ice. Now, the American speed skater Edmund Lamy set the first known record in a jump of 27 feet 8 inches at Saranac Lake, New York in 1925, and that distance remained a record for more than a quarter of a century. Lamy, in carrying out that jump, cleared 14 barrels. Then, in 1951, Olympic speed skater Irving Jaffe made his mark by organizing the first recognized barrel jumping tournament at Grossinger's Country Club in the Catskill Mountains. Jaffe did win 2 gold medals in the 1932 Winter Olympics, but they were for 5,000 and 10,000 meter races not involving anything to do with barrel jumping. And unfortunately, during the Depression, he had to sell his gold medals for the mere sum of $3,500.
Oh,
But Jeffy appeared in a full-page ad for Camel cigarettes in 1934, entitled "It Takes Healthy Nerves for Jaffe to Be the World Champion Skater. Steady smokers turn to Camels." Think
Oh,
of that. How many years ago that was? So,
wow.
90 years ago, roughly. So, anyway, Terrence Brown set a new record by jumping 15 barrels or 28 feet 3 inches at the Second World Championships at Grossinger's in 1952. The current record of 18 barrels, which is 29 feet 5 inches, was held by Yvonne Jolin of Canada, and he did that on January 25, 1981. The woman's record was set by Marie Josie Hole, who jumped 11 barrels, 22 feet 5 inches on March 1, 1987. Now, as for the Olympics, Gilles Leclerc, president of the Canadian Jumping Federation, tried for 25 years to get the sport included into the Olympics. In 1992, the Canadian Barrel Jumping Federation sent a jumper to the Lillehammer Winter Sports Festival, but the demonstration by the jumper was canceled because of injury fears, which to me makes a lot of sense. A spokesman for the sport claimed it is a brutal sport. Nobody makes it. Everybody falls on their backsides. It's
ooh.
kind of a strange comment there. Leclerc, a former Canadian champ, however, disagrees with his view of the sport. He says barrel jumping is not dangerous because expert jumpers wear padded body suits and know the proper technique how to land and avoid injury. So, even though, even so, he acknowledges the notion of barrel jumping in the Olympic Games is dead.
I guess
Oh,
so. Yeah.
Which which
Wow.
which I think I think for athletes getting better, okay, stronger, faster, and all, I think there should be some kind of groundswell support for trying to get barrel jumping into the games.
I
I think it
think
would be
I,
so.
exciting.
yeah. There's plenty of dangerous things, obviously, we've seen just with the Winter Olympics in the past couple of weeks. People ending up in the hospital and just doing all kind of dangerous things. So barrel jumping doesn't seem quite as extreme anymore. Um,
Mhm.
and yet, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it at all. Although, John, you know, I was thinking back when we were in school and we were in the fraternity. I seem to remember one of the other fraternities one cold winter day. It must have been a cold weekend, probably a Friday afternoon, challenging us to a competition of barrel jumping. Do you remember that?
Paul, I clearly do not. So you'll have to refresh my memory, please.
Yeah, yeah, barrel jumping, it was probably we didn't have an ice skating rink and most of us certainly did not know how to ice skate, but we did have an ice covered parking lot. And I don't know if we were going to try and jump on over barrels of beer in the parking lot or what, but we thought it was a bad idea. Our fraternity, we normally don't turn down a challenge, but we thought it was a bad idea. So we counter offered the other fraternity and we said, how about if we just do some barrel sitting and maybe how much beer you can drink while sitting on a barrel. And while I don't have a photo, I do have an amazing recreation of some of us
God, I love it.
practicing
Look at
practicing
look at those stout gentlemen enjoying some beer. I can see.
that
Wow, they're all
stout.
stout. Look at those guys. They're all
Yeah,
stout
stout
people.
gentlemen enjoying stout, I think would be the best way to describe that. Yeah, and it was dressed in the dress of our day too. I'm really surprised. So the other fraternity said, "Oh, you got to do better than that. How about this?" Now, if you remember when we were in college, one of the top activities was streaking. So they challenged us
Sure.
to barrel streaking. So we said, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll be there. We'll be there." And so sure enough, on that Saturday, the other fraternity showed up, and here they are, barrel streaking. The
No way.
Good-looking guys, aren't they, Karen? They were a good-looking fraternity.
Yeah, they
Then.
were. Yeah.
Compared to us, the stout guys in the previous photo there. So, of course, we didn't show up. We let them win, and we went down to the local bar and had a good time after that. So, barrel streaking, I can't. There's a sport that I think might catch on as well. Barrel streaking.
Yeah, real quick, like those guys, they're also holding a glass of something or a
And
mug
they're
of
holding a
something.
can of beer. I'm not. I don't even want to guess how they're holding those barrels in front of them. We'll let our listeners be the judge. If you have an answer, send it to me on Facebook or send it to Karen at newclevelandradio.net, and we'll be
There
happy.
you go.
Yeah, we'll discuss those on the next show.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So thank you again, John, for that great.
Yeah, you're welcome,
great
Paul, Karen,
story.
and audience.
I think that's
Sure.
the end. Yeah, that means it's time for Bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. Oh, just the sport, the game show that's sweeping the world. So Bluff the co-host has very simple rules. I have 3 stories similar to the stories we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference. Those stories were real. These stories may be real, but they may be a bluff. And it's up to Karen, John, and those of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed. John, so place your bets. John and Karen, hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. New Orleans has its Mardi Gras, and Cleveland has its Punchki Day, but no one celebrates the beginning of Lenten fasting like the residents of an island in Greece who pelt each other with bags of colored flour. It's called Clean Monday, but there's nothing clean about the streets or the people after their annual flour war. Participants wear protective clothing and masks and buy little sacks of colored flour in every color of the rainbow and then throw it at each other while dancing and singing. There are even flour cannons for mass powderings, but most people show up already covered with flour and just like to watch. The festival dates back to the 19th century and uses traditional brooms and water buckets to clean everything up afterwards before Lent begins. While most people prefer their flour baked into donuts or king cakes or punchkis, when in Greece, do as the Greeks do and throw it. Okay. So, a Greek celebration on the day before Lent called Clean Monday, where people throw bags of colored flour at each other. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
Wow. Geez, I've never heard of this before. It sounds awfully messy. I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay. Karen says it's a bluff because it's too messy. John, what do you think?
I think it's real, but I have to offer a caveat here. The day before Lent is always on Tuesday, and they call this Flower Monday.
They're
So that's
they're Orthodox Christians.
okay. Okay. I guess I'll give that a pass, but I'm going to say it's a real story because I could see people doing this.
Okay. John says it's real. Karen says it's a bluff. The answer, as the judges say, congratulations go to John. Those crazy Catholics and also Orthodox Christians do that kind of stuff in Greece. That's what they are. They're Orthodox Christians, and they celebrate. There's other religions that do that. They celebrate the beginning of Lent on the Monday before. There's
As opposed to Tuesday,
celebrate
right?
on the Thursday before. So
Okay. Oh, sure.
the lovely Donna was telling me about some celebration on the Thursday before Ash Wednesday and Fat Tuesday. And Karen, I have to commend you for not making any comments about those crazy Catholic people. So I thought,
come on, I wouldn't call you John crazy.
I thought that would be your reason for saying it was a real story. But okay, so the score is 1-0. John's in the lead. Let's get right to story number 2. In most restaurants, finding a roach in your salad is a health violation that could shut it down. But at a new salad bar in Thailand, they've turned it into a daily special. The Caesar and cockroach salad was inspired by a rash of restaurant closings due to roach problems. So one owner got the idea to buy sanitized and pre-roasted roaches and sprinkle them on a salad like croutons. While many patrons are grossed out, he says they come around when he and the wait staff eat a roach or two while taking their orders and point out how tasty and healthy they are. The Caesar and cockroach salad isn't a bestseller yet, but word is spreading like, well, like roaches. Okay.
Oh,
So a restaurant in Thailand is selling Caesar and cockroach salad instead of croutons, real fried cockroaches on the salad. Real or bluff? John, we'll start with you.
Well, as gross as this sounds, I'm going to say it's a real story. I mean, people eat insects, and roaches throughout the world, right? And it's in Thailand, so it's not here in the U.S. So you don't have to have the FDA approval. So I'm going to say it's a real story.
All right. We I'm not even going to ask you if you would try it because I know the answer to that. John says it's a real story. Karen, how about you?
it is so gross. I hope it is not real. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Wow. Okay. So Karen says it's a bluff. John says it's a real story. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say Caesar and cockroach salad is a bluff. There's no such thing. Sorry, John. You're right, Karen.
Okay, all right, no problem. Karen, congrats on getting that one right.
Yep.
But
1-1 now.
as I always say, people around the world listen to What in the World. So get ready. Somebody may think it's a good idea, and the next time around,
Okay.
yeah. How about that? Okay, so that means the score is tied 1-1. Points are doubled in round number 3, but we're going to end up with a winner or a tie. So let's see what happens. When it comes to strange art projects, it's tough to beat a couple in New York who tied themselves together around the waist with an 8-foot rope and photographed themselves living like that day and night for an entire year. Yes, they cooked, showered, worked, went to the bathroom, and did everything but touch each other. A rule that the woman said saved her from murdering her partner. The man said they became like animals by the end of the year and eventually quit talking to each other. They communicated by grunts, growls, and dirty looks. They eventually finished and opened a gallery showcasing the photos, and they now give talks on freedom, privacy, control, commitment, and coexistence. While they're no longer tied together, both agree that they're still at the end of their ropes.
Oh.
So the couple who, as an art project, tied themselves together with a rope for an entire year and did everything together, including going to the bathroom. Real or bluff? Karen, back to you.
Well, as much as I loved my husband, I don't think I could have lasted more than a couple of hours. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay, Karen says it's a bluff. I think the lovely Donna would agree with you there. And when referring to me, of course.
Yeah.
Says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm with Karen on this one. It's a bluff. I don't see how anybody could do that for an entire year, 365 days. To me, it seems impossible.
Impossible. Oh, it seems impossible. Oh boy, I wonder what your wife would say about that.
I know. I don't think she would care for it. I'll tell you.
All right, so both Karen and John say that this story is a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, well, this is a backhanded congratulations because you both won, but it is a real story.
You're serious.
I'm going to tell you how the couple did it. The couple, the man was in his 70s and the woman was in her 80s by when they did it. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it's a real story. It was a real art project. They did a real exhibition, and now they give talks about how it was. And they don't like each other.
Oh wow!
They really don't like each other anymore.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Well, congratulations to both of you. That means no studying, no flashcards for another week. And
that's great news.
We settle up again next week. And that is the end of this episode of What in the World. I want to thank Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. Thank you, Karen, for everything you do for our show, for being our liaison with Channel 13. for your sponsorship through Yes I Can Coaching with Karen, for all the great podcasts that you have on newclevelandradio.net. So everybody, check that out. Get all the links, all the information at newclevelandradio.net. For more information on me and the other projects that I'm involved with, you can go to my Facebook page or to paulseaburn.com for that. So thank you, Karen, for that. As always, thank you to my good buddy John DiNallo for What in the World of Sports, for his
thanks, Paul.
color commentary, putting up with me. Although this week he did an excellent job of putting me in my place. Quite a number.
It doesn't happen a lot, but so it was.
When John isn't practicing flashcards, he thinks up ways to get back at me. So I know what you're doing down there, John. But anyway, that's always so much fun for you to be involved with the show. And speaking of fun and involvement, the most important part of the show is our audience. Thank you so much to everybody who listens, who watches, who tunes in. We weren't live this week, but sometimes we are live. We have many people who tune in live. But for all of you who listen to our show, no matter how you get there, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have as much fun listening and watching the show as we do putting it together and putting it on every week on Tuesdays at 3:30 or whenever you listen to it. And on that note, I think I'm done for the week. Hope everybody has a good week. There's no holidays this week. There's nothing. That big full moon thing is over. So just have a
daylight savings time. Time changes this
week. You have
spring.
Right.
Yeah.
Spring forward, everyone. Spring forward.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Thanks, Karen. Yeah.
I'm the only happy one because I'll get more sunlight. Yeah.
You get more
there
sunlight.
You go.
Yeah,
Right,
let's look at the bright. Always look on the bright side of light.
You got it. Okay, everybody.
Okay.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everybody. Take care.